Hey, good morning, folks. I'm back at it. I'm recovering from pneumonia, so I feel healthy enough to be able to do some more live streaming this morning. So we're going to do some artwork. Give me a second here. I need to check on my signal and do the social media posts. Give me a sec. Yeah, okay. Well, the sound sounds good. So I'm going to drop that volume down there. I'm going to grab the link here. I just need to do a couple link clicks to get things up and running. It should take less than a minute. If you want to skip ahead, if you're catching this in the future, I don't blame you at all. But for those that are trapped here in time space here now, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online, and we're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the new 2024 rules. I'm creating an adventure for Eberron. You can see the book cover here. It's called Crystals of Mabar. It's for 7th and 8th level characters. They're fighting undead demons and necromancers in the Carnwood, which is the forest in the nation of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. And today we're creating a submerged, an underground grotto that is being affected by necrotic energies. A little stuffy still, so let's see. Check. Got that all in place. If you find today cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And for those that are interested, here's a bunch of books that I've already created that are on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews. They're chock full of my art and ideas. If you're a role-playing or D&D enthusiast, check them out. If you think they're cool, consider picking them up. And thank you for checking out my stuff. So I'm going to, let's see, drop this down here, get it out of the way. And then we're going to go into Photoshop here. Book cover, get this out of the way. There you go. So, for those that aren't familiar, yet again, this is a 16 by 9 format. It's a digital PDF. When we publish on the DMsGuild, it's usually PDFs. I don't intend for this to be in print, so it's digital only. It's the 16 by 9 format. Works on all devices. The full horizontal 16 by 9. Each individual column is 9 by 16. So it's easy to use on digital devices or on a widescreen monitor or on your phone or a tablet behind your behind your DM screen. If that's how you run adventures, and it is highly malleable and can be has different plots that can be implemented depending on what the DM chooses to add to the adventure. So it has a high customization, and if you're a paid DM that runs multiple teams across multiple campaigns and you're looking for something for Eberron, maybe this will be something that you enjoy. So we have our cavern here, we have our water here, we have lighting highlights back here. We're just going to keep at this. Right now we are working with our mountain chisel, our mountain razor here to just start blending in this environment. Just getting the rockiness going here. So we're just gonna basically sculpt some paint here like rock to create these effects, and then we'll continue adding texture. And when it feels like it's done, we'll move on to the next piece. So continuing to move forward with the project. Every day we're getting closer to having it published. Pneumonia knocked me down for a good week, so that pushed me off course a little bit, which of course wouldn't be the first time I've been knocked off course in this endeavor. But having said that, probably going to be close to the first week of February that we end up publishing. It's soon. It's very, very soon, TM, that we'll be publishing this piece, and then we'll be moving on to all the other cool stuff that we've been designing on in the evenings. Monday through Friday in the morning, I do artwork like this for whatever book it is that we're going to publish next. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, we do game design for other books that we're going to be creating later. And then Saturday mornings, we also do game design. I also do playtesting on Saturday mornings. So I stream 8 times per week and then do playtesting on my Discord channel once per week. And anyone that's interested in participating or just hanging out or asking questions, you're welcome to join my Discord. No cost, just the link is down below. Go ahead and just click through the invitation and jump in, and whatever topic is of interest to you down in the channels, just go ahead and jump in and ask questions, and If you want to use some of these tools that we've been building, if you want to play test them in your own campaign, I will help you set that up and make it active so I can get some good feedback from you. And if you're just interested in playing in one of the campaigns that I run to playtest my content, then just raise your hand and say, hey, you want to be involved. So there you go. So I'll just keep at this. Yeah, looks like everything's coming along nicely. I got a lozenge going, so I'm going to have some clacketing around on my teeth a little bit here to help keep the phlegm down. I'm probably about 85%, 90% recovered. I've still got some residual stuff, but I was able to sleep through without waking up to coughing last night, so that's good. That there's still some gunk hanging around in my tubes. There's that. That feels pretty good. Let's kick over here and right now we're just sculpting the rock to just basically create the shapes and the geoforms of the structures in here, and I'm just about happy with how it's all sitting in general, but we need to improve the texture because this is still a very loose painterly feel that I want to improve upon. Get just better texture. The environment is covered in this gritty crystal like coffee grounds like substance. These crystals of Mabar that coat everything. If you scrape them off and then use some alchemical processes, you can turn them into material components for necromancy and darkness spells, which is something that Mabar is famous for. So we've drenched the region in these pseudo-magical materials. Makes it very enticing to create a harvesting operation as like a bastion to harvest these materials to create alchemical and magical stuff. I don't necessarily like. I've rebuilt the Bastion campaign system on our. I've been rebuilding it on Mondays and Thursday nights, but I like the general premise of the idea of Bastions that Wizards has put out for 5e. It's not as in-depth as the original Beckme system for domain command, but it's pretty good, and it's a good starting point for 5e in general that we've really built out into a more robust system. But I love framing adventures and content around the idea of bastions as the core of what's going on, like building up the bastion, reinforcing troops, establishing trade routes, establishing harvesting operations for materials. That's all really well grounded into how people is a really logical way to structure motives. Like, we want to establish this trade route so that we can extract gold from this mine. So we need to chase away people from this region, so bandits are harassing anyone that comes by to try to create space for themselves, for instance. Like, that's a good cause-effect sort of relationship to establish in world why monsters and NPCs do what they do. A lot of it is a lot of conflict in the real world is driven around access to resources, and the Bastion campaign system that we've been developing is a really good way to frame those conflicts, or frame accessing those different materials, or framing resources, or creating objects. It's a really good background system that the DM can easily use to establish motives inside of a campaign. Maybe I'll make a structured essay about that and post that online for you guys to look at. But the Bastion system is one of my higher priorities for 2026. I may actually end up working on that once we finish this adventure. Start diving into buffing that out, because I'm really enjoying where the Bastion system has gone. So just going to add in some more lighting over here. Or shadow, rather, to help add a little bit of depth. Bending away from the light over here. And just some rough texture. Ricola. Chomp, chomp, chomp. How's our music doing over here, huh? Thank you. Excuse me. So we'll continue working on the Bastion campaign system tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night. So anyone that's interested is welcome to tag in and check that stuff out tomorrow night. Hey, what's going on, Def? I'll let you know in a minute after I've gotten a decent listen. Everything should, yeah, the sound balance should be okay at this point. There we go. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it turns out when you install Zoom on your computer, Zoom kind of takes control of your volume controls. And one of the advanced settings in Zoom is automatically adjust your volume so that you avoid spikes. And apparently what's been happening is, because I have a lot of volume variance between the music and me talking into my microphone here, it triggers the auto adjust on Zoom. So that's what's caused. Once I deactivated that feature, it seems to be stable now. That it, and I've started testing in the mornings before I actually fire up stream. I'm doing pre-check recordings to make sure that the balance sounds good, and I was able to do some tweaking this morning to make sure that the sound of the music wasn't too quiet but not overwhelming. So I think my sound balance should be good moving forward. At least I hope so. Let's just get that in there, and all right, I'm just nitpicking a little bit, but that's kind of what we do, right? I mean, that's what art's all about, is nitpicking at the stuff that that you want to do. Does that make any sense? Nitpicking is kind of what art is all about. I think is what I'm trying to say. Hey, we shall see when they peak. Yeah, I know, right? Should be good. Thanks a lot for the confirmation, man. I appreciate it. Always appreciate confirmation. And yeah, that feels pretty good. Let's we should probably have some shadow or some light pulling across over here just a little bit. And now I think I'm at a point where I can actually start doing actual gritty texture. Hey, well, thanks, man. Yeah, so far so good. So far so good anyway, right? So the light is the light, that's fine. We'll end up adding some darkness into that to show the tunnels receding away from the scene. The water is going to need some ripple effects and some fungus and shit growing in it, moss growing. But for now, I think I want to grab my crystal texture brush, and we're going to drop this down to 0. Hiccup. So just to demonstrate, this is the brush that we're using here, and if I go 100%, it's black. We're going to bend the brush so that it's curved in a little bit like that. I created this brush from here. I'll show you again. This is actually I derived this from a geometric head of cauliflower, you know how cauliflower, the natural cauliflower has like these weird fractal patterns that it grows out of. Is really, really just crazy looking. But this was me taking an image of that fractal cauliflower and polarizing it to black and white, and then extracting the form here, that like these little peaks here, that the shadows were basically taken off, but the cauliflower was like a geomorph like this. So this is the remnant of the shadow and highlights of that geomorphic pattern, and because the cauliflower is fractal by nature, it's easy for me to be able to chain these together to make these geomorphic shapes, right? That just kind of tile together real naturally. That's because the object that we were using, the organic cauliflower itself, is fractal, which means it's designed to replicate itself. So I just create, it's really easy to build patterns from that. And so we can change the width of it to like show along like curved edges like this, and then we can open it up a little bit more to have it start curving around. So you start creating this spherical surface here, right? So you can see how it curves around. So we can take that same curvature idea and apply it to these shapes here. And that'll give it a natural texturing sort of feeling to it. So that's our next step, is to shrink this down and then start looking for the edges to work this along. And I'm going to go down here like this, for instance. And my music is cut out again. I don't know what's going on with you, Epidemic. I'm going to reload my page. I don't know why you're not playing, buddy. There we go. That should get it up and running. I'm on Raw. That doesn't feel right. Let's start over. I'm going to use the back edge of this. What size are we at? It's 125 pixel brush size that we're using currently. So I'm just going to work along the edge here, and we can reduce the opacity to open up the light on that. Let's open it just a bit. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. This is what feels right, so I'm just kind of running with it. We'll see if it ends up looking right or not. I like the grind on this song. It sounds really cool. I'm kind of using this as since this is the closest point to the camera, this is going to have the most details, so we can then recede and have less and less detail as we move further back in the piece away from our central point. Let's open this up a little bit more. I went with full black here because I knew that we were going to reduce the opacity to help the lighting shine through a little bit more. Let's reduce that a smidge to make it fit into the gaps well. And then I think we should open that up a bit more. Yeah, like that. and we'll be able to mess with that a little bit more. This is this is gonna work out. I think this is gonna end up looking really, really cool when we're done. A thing about texturing is that it only looks okay initially until you like really get into it, and once you complete a texture pattern, it generally self-references itself and reinforces its look. So it should end up looking really good by the time we're done. I'm liking the positioning. This should be solid. Flip this around here like that. Then you can see how this just naturally slips into those spaces there. This is a really good brush. This brush set is available currently on my Patreon, which is linked down below. You can get free access to the ABS file that I use, Adobe Brush Set ABS files. It works with GIMP, and everybody uses basically ABS files for brushes. So it should work with GIMP, Clip Art Studio, blah blah blah. Corel. Should work with all of those. See how it just naturally just curves into itself very nicely like that. And now that we're moving towards the top, I should reduce the curve of the brush, because it's curving like this towards the camera. It's going to foreshorten, so we squish the shape, so the shape foreshortens. That creates the illusion. It's subtle, but it's consistent. It will produce the effect that we want. That. And then here we have the full size of it. There we go. Back up here. Stop flipping around. Thank you. Mastery of your tools is critical for art, but obviously I have not yet mastered them because they don't obey my commands. Where do we go from here? That's a great question, huh? I think we'll just do some more texturing. I'm okay with little gaps here and there. That just feels a little organic. There we go. Well, excuse me. As it sits, this looks like a print pattern, right? It looks like a pattern. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to erase some of this so that it has little clumps and like little colonies of crystal. We don't want to have it completely saturating the entire shape, but I completely coated it to create the form that we can then extract that we can then extract shapes out of it. So I wanted to completely saturate it so that we would be able to basically dig a shape out of it, if that makes sense. I'm overdoing it so that we can erode some of it so that it has a more natural feel to it. Because just completely encrusting this with crystal, it's not visually interesting, and it makes you, I think, look at it sidewise, like, what's going on here? You know, I want you to ask what's going on, but I don't want it to be like, this doesn't make sense or this looks weird. Like, that's not. I want it to look unnatural, but logical, if that makes sense. If that makes any sense. Let's keep. I'm going to actually add a new layer. And I'm going to push it back behind. Just like we had on the highlights, I'm trying to dust the shapes in here so that we can work the texturing. Again, I've done something similar to this in the past, but not this specifically. This is utilizing skills that I'm familiar with, but not specifically this effort. So art is constantly pushing us to create new. We're literally just like imagining new images and putting them on page, right? So every one of them is their own like problem that you solve with your style of art and your composition and the techniques that you use for your brushwork. It's all there to push us into new creative space to express these ideas in new ways. That sounds a little vague. Sorry about that. But like I've done texturing like this in the past, but not specifically for like a cavern like this. So it's a new exploration for me to do so. I'm going to reduce the size of the brush here. Oh. There. You're going to see how the brush just fits into these little gaps and shapes. It's that fractal base that we use that allows me to be able to put these together. We did a lot of this on the maps. The maps throughout this adventure are just like the ground is absolutely covered with these things and all sorts of patchwork, which is really it's honestly a lot of fun to do. It takes a little. I mean, it's basically stippling. It's or like Japanese ink blocks, where like they'll have like a carving of a tree and then they dip it in ink and then they'll press it onto the rice paper and it leaves the shape of the tree or the like cherry blossom or whatever it is that they're doing. This is very reminiscent to that sort of technique. It's a similar technique. I need to flatten this brush up a little bit, but increase its size. And then as we get further away from the camera, we reduce the size of the brush to help create. The further away it is, the smaller something is, obviously. That's how perspective and foreshortening works. So we're implementing those same tools. Reduce the width of that a little bit. So the thinner that we make it, the more it curves towards the camera. Flat is broad like this, and then as it curves towards the camera, it gets more and more narrow. And if we increase the size, as we increase the narrowness, it grows it's further away, and then it grows towards you. That's how that curvature works. Which is why having a replicating pattern like this is super useful, because you can create that illusion with relative ease. I mean, right now we're just basically wallpapering this environment with these curved surfaces, right? But it's creating a language inside of here. Thin it down a little bit more as we draw closer. Pardon the pun. That's pretty good. Curve along down here. And we'll broaden it a little bit more, again, to show that it's facing more towards the camera, and we'll increase the size a little bit to get closer to the camera. So we're creating these different layers. Layers, not layers. And let's go down over here and add another layer. And we'll be able to adjust the opacity on these to indicate further distance. And of course we'll add in the smoky fog effect, the putrid. There's the rotting vegetation in these regions creates a necrotic fog that causes, if you fail your saving throw, it gives you degrees of exhaustion. Kind of like in Spelljammer, when you have fouled air, it gives you the poison condition while you're in it. So if you fail your saving throw, you get the poison condition, and if you fail consecutive saving throws, it starts giving you degrees of exhaustion that are relinquished when you are able to get a breath of fresh air. So while you're in the environment, your stats or your die rolls are going to continue to deplete and get lower and become more and more difficult as you're facing challenges. But if you can get out of the poison into fresh air, all of those penalties go away. Like normally exhaustion drops 1 degree of exhaustion per long rest, but with this system, as long as it doesn't, 6 degrees of exhaustion, you're still dead. But if you can get out of it and take a short rest, all degrees of exhaustion go away. So there's you'll have to find a way to create those fresh air pockets for yourself while you're in the environment, or you make use of different resources that are inside of it. Like there's a melange that you can make from some of the exotic plant material that's inside of these zones that can be made into basically a potpourri that you can breathe through that will filter out the poisonous gas. So put your face mask on and you don't have to worry about being poisoned. And so all the mercenaries and soldiers that are running around inside of here, they all have these plague masks that are full of the exotic plant material that's allowing them to be able to breathe properly without getting poisoned. And they have fresh air zones at camp that you can dip into if you can get access. If you can peacefully get access to their camps by allying with them, then they'll allow you to get fresh air so that you don't have to be poisoned. But if you make enemies of them, you're going to be fighting, unless you can get some of those some of that air freshening, you'll be fighting at disadvantage because you're poisoned with stacking penalties -2, -4, -6, -8, -10 working against you. And since it's a 7th, 8th level adventure and you're fighting a lot of like CR2 to 4 creatures, individually they're not a problem, but as the conditions, the environment works against you, your die rolls become worse and worse. It's even even though you'll have a bunch of hit points to survive against them, as your stats continue, your die rolls continue to erode. They become a larger and larger threat because it becomes more and more difficult for you to be able to counter them. I really like the exhaustion system in D&D. It's a really elegant design that allows you to take high-level characters and give them problems that they normally wouldn't have because of the environmental effects that you're stacking up against them. It's a big equalizer that as a DM, if you lean into that, high-level characters don't necessarily have to be, they'll have access to all sorts of cool spells and tools and stuff like that will be challenging to overcome. But statistically, just the math of it, you can whittle characters down at any level and create problems for them. And when the world doesn't act the way that the players think it's going to act, it gets scary for them, and that creates fun for the DM to torture. Because torturing high-level characters is the best fun that a DM can have with players. Let's widen this out a little bit. There we go. So we're layering in this texture right now to be able to create the shape, and then we're going to again selectively erase spots of it to create little clusters. And in the bare spots, we can then add in fungus that glows, a viridescent fungus, and that creates this dim light environment that the characters are operating inside of. Excuse me. Still getting over the pneumonia, so I'm going to be a little verklempt. That feels pretty good. Let's. That's my 20-minute timer to make sure I'm paying attention to my clock. It's 7:12 here in Seattle, so I get to do artwork like this until 8 a.m. every day, and then I go to my day job, and then on Mondays and Thursday nights after work, around 6:30 p.m. I come home and we'll do game design. Saturday mornings. So in Seattle, Pacific Standard Time here, PST -8 UTC. I work for about an hour and a half every morning, Monday through Friday, doing artwork like this for whatever book it is that we're going to publish next. And then 6:30 till 8 on Saturday mornings, we're going to be doing game design. And then from 9:30 till 1 o'clock Seattle time, a.m. on Saturdays, typically when I do playtesting and running games. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, 6:30 till 9 p.m., I do design work for whatever the next book is going to be, like the Bastion campaign for Dominion-style leadership in 5e is one of the books that we're building. The Color Mana Spell Point variant rules for Magic the Gathering color conversion for the 2024 rules is one of the things that we're working on. The martial power system, creating a mana resource for martial characters that have the same breadth of options that spellcasters have in preparing different type of powers and feats to differentiate martial characters from spellcasters, but to give them the same array of per day, per level selection that like sorcerers and bards have. A lot of auxiliary systems that aren't necessary for the 5e game engine, but builds characters and creates campaigns the way that I like to run them as a DM. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours. So 250 to 275 hours is pretty typical. If I'm running a 3 or 4, like a 3.5 hour, 4 hour game, I can typically, with vacation and sick time integrated, I can typically run a full campaign from level 1 to 20 in about 15 months. And I've done 3 campaigns in the 5e game engine so far from level 1 to 20, and it seems to be pretty consistent. I want to broaden that circle a little bit as we curve around our surface here. And so when did I run out of music again? This thing for the life of it is not playing nicely. Disable shuffle, enable, and enable, disable. No, we just heard that song. There, let's do that. I like Epidemic, but their tools don't always work proper for me. Let's widen that shape a little bit more. So the books that I create and publish on DMsGuild are tools that I wanted to have available for players in my campaigns, or tools that I use to build a campaign. And so all the books that I publish are things that I actively use or allow my players to use in the campaigns that I create and run. So my library of books, like there's a number of them that are linked down below, but the library of books that I've created on DMsGuild so far is basically if you use all of them at the same time, like that's the kind of campaigns that I run. I'm slowly building out all the mechanics and books that I want to use in 5e games that I enjoy playing. So, or rather, that I enjoy running as a DM. I've been DMing for 38 years, since 1987, and I've been playing since Red Box, Beckme, up through 5th edition 5.5, and I think 5.5 is the best game engine I've ever ran or ever played with D&D. I'd say 3rd edition was the most fun to play, but it was a bear to DM. And 5e is so much easier than 3rd edition was, but 3rd edition was the ultimate in customizing characters. It was amazing as a means of building characters. The way that WotC recreated D&D to basically be a deck building game was incredible, and it spawned an entire subculture of theory crafting characters, which was super fun. Like, how much sneak attack damage can I build into this character, or like what's the most spells I can get this character to build out, or like how many meta magics can I get this character to build for free. Like 3rd edition was all about combining different character class options to create different ways to solve resource management and surviving dungeons. So like a lot of 3E was just designing characters and then playtesting them in a live fire campaign. Super fun, super fun, but very difficult to. It really trained the team that I played with. It really trained us on how to think outside the box and utilize the different tools that are available in the game to challenge just indestructible characters, and it was super fun doing that sort of hammer rock scissors of, well, I've built a character that can become immune to damage. Well, as a DM, I am now able to like deal ability damage. Like I can damage your strength or your dexterity, and you only have 25 points of strength at 19th level, so you can basically take 25 points of damage before you're paralyzed. Like the fun little ways to screw around with each other in that sense. But this is coming along. We'll be able to get this. We'll be able to finish saturating this place today, no problem. Here's this, and then that's on the other side over there, and then that's closer. That's there, and there. I should probably put here. So let's go here. There, and now we're gonna widen this a little bit. Again, as we widen it, it goes from like very flat to very broad, and so the curvature of the shape is adjusted by how wide of the brush, how oblong it is versus circular. Broaden it a little bit more. We want to basically wallpaper everything so that the patterning is consistent across the board and creates these little valleys and dips as a result of the curvature of the objects. And then we can go in and we can erase on them and carve out pieces of it to further sculpt the shape of the stuff that we're building. But we first have to saturate everything so it has that consistent texture. And then we'll strip away that texture to reveal stone underneath it. And then we'll be able to add in little colonies of moss and mushrooms and stuff like that as we go. But I really don't want to spend a stupid amount of time on this. I think we'll actually be able to have it finished by tomorrow. So 4 hours isn't a bad amount of time to spend on this piece. So far, so good, right? There's that. There's that. There's that. There's that. This is where this is at. So then let's jump back into here. So we'll be back tomorrow morning and we'll finish this on stream tomorrow. And then we'll move on to the next piece. And once all the artwork gets done, we get to publish the adventure, and then we'll move on to the next book. We're gonna do we'll be doing a palette cleanser though. We're gonna do some Bob Ross environment art. I've plucked out a number of different gorgeous scenes that Microsoft Desktop keeps popping up. I grabbed snapshots of those and put them in a folder for environments to build, and we'll have the opportunity to go through and build a few of those as we go. Here we go. So thanks a lot for folks that are checking out the stream. I really appreciate you guys swinging by and hanging out with me. And it's artwork is a lonely task. YouTube being able to stream. I mean, it's kind of a parasocial relationship. But most of my playtesters that are on my Discord channel linked below are people that started hanging out on my Discord, or rather hanging out with me here on YouTube. So I'm kind of building a posse slowly but surely of playtesters and gamers that I've really enjoyed DMing with over the past year and a half. And most of those people came directly from this YouTube stream. So, hey, what's up, Gabby? What's up? Yeah, I'm doing great. How's your Eberron efforts coming along? I know you were building a campaign for your family, right? And you were looking at Quickstone, I think? I really love the 19th century vibe of Eberron. It's such a great environment for different types of adventure. Super fun. Yeah, right on. Let's broaden this a little bit and then reduce the size. Flip it like that. And then we'll, oops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I accidentally dropped this out of its frame. I generally don't like, oh well, fuck it, who cares? It's fine. It's fine, everything's fine, we're fine. Almost done. We just got to fill all this little gap in here, and then we can start erasing it to create different type of texturing. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of pneumonia in me. A lot better than it was. I can at least hold a couple sentences of conversation before erupting into coughing at this point. But I am noticing my throat's getting a little chafed, so take a quick swig before moving on. Yeah, we should be able to have this one finished tomorrow. Before moving on to the next piece. We got about 20 little corner vignette illustrations. I mean, this is an environment piece. I go hard on environment pieces. I really dive in on them. I can't help myself. I just absolutely love environment pieces. So that's not unusual. But hopefully the rest of them aren't going to take as long as this one is to complete. And I'm running out of tasks. I need to broaden that a little bit. I'm running out of tasks to do offline, so I'm going to erase some of that. I think by this time next week we're going to be hyperlinking, like doing all the links to this passageway leads to room 5, and then you can click room 5 and it'll jump you to room 5. Like that's all the hyperlinking throughout the document. So you can click through the adventure and navigate by touch. Basically, since it's a PDF, we can build it using all of the digital tools that are available to us, including doing hyperlink navigation, which is super fun. And once I actually start constructing that, I'll show you guys what that looks like when I build it. It'll be really neat. But the maps, when we put a map in, and like the maps have like the numbers of each of the areas that are described in the map, then when you look at the map, you'll be able to click on a room and it'll bounce you to that room, and then you'll have a back button that'll take you back to that map, so you can bounce back and forth between maps and rooms, so you can basically follow the characters through the dungeon as they're maneuvering, and you can click through the adventure and it'll automatically lead you to the locations that they're exploring, so you don't have to flip through pages or anything. You can just navigate by touch to get to different locations. Super user friendly, very, very fun. I love utilizing those tools, which is why I love PDFs so much. Plus, I don't see any color, so it's really difficult for me to do color in prints because I can't proof I'd have to hire an art director to tell me that my colors are wrong, and then like how the fuck am I going to fix them? Like, it's really difficult. At least while I'm doing digital work like this, when it's a PDF, I know what I see, you're going to see. And one of the big problems with print is that the saturation changes by the way that the ink gets absorbed on the page. So you have to adjust your color saturation and your black density to make sure that it actually reads proof true. And that's getting, the industry is getting better and better at being able to replicate things properly. But since I'm colorblind, I can't do any manual adjustments. So if I want to do print, generally it's like line art, like ink work only. For me to be able to properly operate inside a color, I have to stay in a digital product, which means PDFs, which means if I'm going to do that, lean into what the digital products are capable of doing so that it becomes a feature, not a flaw. And I know that there's a lot of people that like to purchase print versions to have to show off on their bookshelf, but the stuff that I built is designed to be used, because all the tools that I build I actually use in my own campaigns. Otherwise I wouldn't bother. Like if it's not something I want to use in my own campaigns, I'm not going to bother building it, because why would I? Hey, what's up? Pinterest labeled 4 of my pieces as AI modified. I had to repeat that. Oh my god. That's crazy, Daph. You're too good, man. That's your fault. You're just too good. Flawless victory used to mean something, you know? Now it's almost an insult. Oh my lord. thin this down. We're getting really close to being done with this texturing process. But it does so much to carry a piece. Texture is everything, really. You can have very basic art, but really good text. I mean, like, if your line art isn't as good as your texturing, it's going to look weird. It's going to look like computer animation mixed in with anime art. Like, it seems off pace. But once you can develop a style that complements each other in that way, its texture really can carry your work. Is CJ... Am I too good? I know, right? The computer doesn't know any better. I am not excited about people embracing the idea of AI. Maybe it's great for like detecting cancer and stuff like that, and has absolute value, which I think is a really good use for AI. Like, absolutely. But I don't really value AI for creative endeavors. It's just not important. It makes creating things like this less expensive for people that can't do art. But if you're looking for shortcuts to create your product, how much of a creator are you really? Maybe I'm naive, but I like to think that people invest in the work that I do because of how much I put into it. I'm not letting an algorithm or a program write stuff for me and then me do a cleanup. Like, these are all ideas that I've tested and know work, and it then becomes my effort to build them so that they're digestible and easy to grok. I don't need an AI to build this stuff for me. These are all things I actively use in my own campaigns. Like, these are systems that I know backwards and forwards, that I just need to translate into a written, that I need to build so that other people can get how they work as well. Hey, what's up? That's why I'm here. Aside from the fact that you're a good guy. Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. When do you do play tests, and when can we read about it on Discord? My Discord is here. I'll take a quick tangent here real quick. Here's my Discord right here. Free access to join, and my playtesting. When I do bursts of campaigns, typically a few months at a time, and when I do playtesting, it's typically Saturday mornings, Pacific time here in Seattle. I run games from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. I'm going to start running my Saturday morning stream from 6:30 till 8:30 in the morning, and then go offline for an hour, prep up, and then be online again for playtesting. Right now we're doing Strixhaven playtesting, the Mage Tower game. We converted into a martial system, so it's like a combat sport, basically playing rugby with spell casting and combat, kind of like Blood Bowl from Warhammer. That's what we're playtesting currently. We'll be doing that at 7:30. I've got 20 minutes left this morning, so obviously we only have this little snippet left here. So we'll get our texturing done today, like I wanted, and we'll start be able to futz around with erasing it to create more texture shapes. But yeah, we're playing Strixhaven's Mage Tower Rugby right now with 7th level characters. They're basically hour-long matches, so we can do 2 or 3 matches on a morning. But I think in March, we'll be done with Mage Tower, and we'll start playing the Eberron Spelljammer Bastion campaign that I've been developing on stream on Mondays and Thursday nights. So this Thursday, anyone that's interested in that idea, I basically built mecha kaiju mechanics, kind of like Pacific Rim, for use with Spelljammer to have characters jump into mecha and at the 50-foot scale instead of the 5-foot scale operate giant robots to fight like 100-foot cloakers or like 50-foot dark mantles or like 200-foot krakens. So we're building a campaign around that Pacific Rim sort of idea that is going to be another supplement that we'll publish that complements the Spelljammer mechanics that I created. So, and if you want to see my Spelljammer mechanics, those are linked down below under Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. That is one of my best books I've ever fucking made. I absolutely love those Spelljammer mechanics. They are super cool. And they work really, really well. And they basically allow you to scale combat from the 5-foot scale to the 50-foot scale to the 500-foot scale, depending on what type of machines it is that you're using. And it works incredibly well. So I'm very, very proud of that. So I'm excited to, instead of being fish or bird-shaped monster like ships, we make them human-shaped ships, and that's a mecha. Super easy, right? Pretty straightforward. Human-shaped ships are called mecha. There you go. But like insects and fish and birds is the typical motif of how spelljamming ships are built, and they have their natural weapons. Like a scorpion ship has claws. Spiders have long legs that can use as piercing rams, and they have like mandibles that can bite, like kind of like you're wild shaping as a druid into a 500-foot creature. But if you make them humanoid shaped, then they can pick up massive sized weapons, and like, you know, a 20-foot mecha can fight fire and cloud giants at the same scale that they operate on. So instead of 5-foot squares, you can have like 20-foot squares. I see text. Give me a hot second. Pneumonia is still getting at me a little bit here, so almost cleared it from my system. Not quite. Hey, there we go. We finished our texturing. What's up? Yeah, Spirit Warriors. Yeah, they are undead insects basically that elves build. But with this, it's like dwarves make them, gnomes make them. Warforged are basically like Warforged titans. In my system, in my Eberron, Warforged souls are docents, and you plug them into the body of whatever machine. So a steel defender, like a dog-shaped mecha, could be a Warforged. I am a Warforged, but currently my soul is in the docent, the little sphere that holds my consciousness, and anything I plug that ball into, I animate with my soul, kind of like wild shaping. So you can be dog-shaped, insect-shaped, little like ornithopter drones that can fly around. In my Eberron, Warforged are incredibly versatile machines that are constantly they don't need to have bodies. You can plug them into a mainframe. You can have multiple Warforged docents working in a network together to be like an archive. That's like a digital, like in Ravnica, for example, the Azorius Senate has their data archives, and basically those would be overseen and managed by docents, which are spirits trapped inside of machines that can then interface with technology. But I mean, that's just how I run them. So like Warforged mecha are basically just giant machines that have insert points to drop docents into, and the more docents you add to the machine, the more action economy the mecha gets. Or you can just have like a pilot seat, you know, like a normal helm for like dwarves. In this campaign, it's dwarves, gnomes, and Warforged are the three species that your characters can be, because it's Zalargo, Moorhold, and the new nation of Sire, which are Warforged in space.
Warforged aren't spotted in the afterlife realm, my Eberron, because they are so outnumbered. Nice. Undead bug monsters. Yeah. I like Spirit. I like Spirit Warriors. That is definitely one of the inspirations behind the mecha that I built.
But I've been putting mecha in my game since 2nd edition. So it's just I love mecha, and 5th edition is a really good game engine. Okay, great. So now we have all of our. Let's pan back. We have here's the closest, and then here's a lump, 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 and then there's a lump, and then there's a lump. There, there, and there. I can actually bond these into the same layer. Merge that. Okay, so these are our different layers, and what I want to do is I'm going to bond these all into a folder called texture, and then I'm going to duplicate that group and merge it down into a single layer so we can cut through all of it. And we're gonna start messing around. We're gonna just start messing around with it. So I think what I want to do is use my my mountain chisel brush as my eraser. I think I'm going to give this a try. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm going to drop the eraser down to 30%, and we're just going to start carving away at this a little bit. I did watch Eureka 7 and love this. Eureka 7, that was like a sport, wasn't it? Like a mecha sport on was that on Toonami? Am I thinking right there? Yeah. Yeah, that was a Toonami original, if I'm not mistaken. They're like animal-shaped mecha that were in a sport of some sort. It was like some sort of like mecha rugby sort of thing, or it was like no, there was like a racetrack, and like they fought each other while they went around the racetrack, I think. Oh! I think I know what you're talking about. No, I'm thinking something different. Yeah. I'll have to look back in. I know the name. I don't think I actually watched Eureka 7. Obviously I identify the name. See how we're just doing a little erasing patterns here? You can see how it's fatiguing away at these little spots here. This will help us create some interesting texture points inside of here. I'm only using a 30% opacity because I have to 30%, and then it'll be what 20%, and then it's 14%, and then it's 10%, and then it's 6%, and then it's 4%, and then it's 1%, or basically completely erased. So there's a number of I have to tap on the same spot a number of times to completely erase the texture that we're building. So if I just lightly kind of like stipple along here to fatigue at it, it creates these interesting little pockets. And I want to reduce the size of the brush the further away I get from the camera. So we just create interesting little pockets. It just adds a lot of it's creating texture by erasing texture, you know? If that makes any sense. Now I want to erase more along the highlights because it'll help bring the highlights out and let the shadow have more texture, darkness inside of it. But this is just how I solve texture and environmental problems. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about developing your own style, and again, your art style is your apology and compensation for not being photorealistic. The more photorealistic you are, the less style you need, or rather, your style is photorealism. And it's like anime, for example. The anime style is a very expressive. It's a quick means of rendering characters with expressive faces to be able to get a lot of emotion out of the characters. That's where the anime style evolved from. It's obviously not photorealistic, but it's very expressive and it's aesthetically pleasing. So the style that you develop is going to be an aesthetically pleasing apology for not being photorealistic. Like, I don't need to be photorealistic because this is artistic, right? But that artisticness comes from not being 100% accurate. Kind of ran out of steam in that sentence there. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. But most of my environment style, like this idea that we're working here, it evolved from Joy of Painting, Bob Ross. I used to watch brand new episodes of Bob Ross in the 80s while I was playing Legos on Saturday mornings, waiting for the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon or Mighty Orbots to start. Bob Ross would be on like at 6:30 in the morning in St. Louis, where I grew up. So I'd listen to Bob Ross while I was playing with Legos, making castles and stuff, or robots or vehicles and stuff, while I waited for my favorite cartoons to come on Saturday morning, eating my Lucky Charms or Trix cereal. So much fun. What a life. See how well this texture's coming in? It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
I'm sorry. You had a homebrew question? Sorry, I missed it. What's your best homebrew advice for monsters that isn't just read official monsters and play testing them? I want to get better a little faster. Okay, well, sorry. The issue is either question is like, isn't it like 2 and 2 don't say 4? Playtesting is the answer.
So the way that I generally come up with monsters is I use the advice that Wizards provides for 5e24, which is generally take monsters that exist at the CR that you want and then modify them. It sounds like a cop-out, but there's like 400 monsters that are in the monster manual, and there's God knows how many different books out there of different types of monsters. Basically, take something that already exists and just modify it so that it fits what you need, like less hit points if you want to make them softer, or like add stats if you want to make them hit harder, or give them an extra attack. It's kind of you really just kind of have to wing it and just kind of get a feel for things. I don't have a strong, solid answer for you there. You just kind of have to fuck around and find out, you know. I don't have a hard formula for monster creation. Most of it's like it's just the more experience you have running monsters, the more idea, the better feel you have for like what's this stat range, like what's this damage going to typically do, or like how difficult is the DC of this saving throw going to be for the characters that are going to be fighting it. It's not a great answer. I'm sorry, but it's really you just kind of have to go in and futz around and find out what works at the level that you're at. And generally, when I do monster encounters, I generally recommend hit them hard, fast, like right out of the gate. Hit them heavy, because the chances of them killing the monsters quickly is like most monsters get killed in 2 or 3 rounds unless you give them an unrealistic amount of hit points. But they're supposed to get killed. So monsters are kind of like jump scares. You want to hit the characters hard, make them scared, make them dump resources to get rid of something that they're viewing as a lethal threat from that jump scare, so that they're draining their own resources to eliminate the monster quickly. So if you start off punching hard and then like have a recharge or something like that for their most dangerous abilities, it gives the characters a chance to not get one shot from whatever it is that you created, and to recover and then create a plan to knock out the monster. I don't think I'm giving you a good answer there. I'm sorry.
You can look at my art after during the stream. Yeah, right on, I will. Creating monsters from scratch, if your players don't mind a talk because they're fighting an unbalanced creature.
Yeah, I generally recommend exactly what Wizards recommends. It's like there's so many monsters. Just take something that already exists at the CR that you want them to operate at, and just modify it. Like swap abilities. Like you could take the Mind Flayer's Mind Blast and like the burrowing ability of an Umber Hulk. Whatever, you can mix and match different abilities that are appropriate for the CR that you're operating at. And yeah, I'll absolutely look at the pixel art. I like your pixel art, Def. It's really good. This is starting to shape up the way that I want it to. Not bad. And it's excuse me. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. This is where I wanted to get at. Tomorrow when we come back, we're going to work on the water, and we'll add fungus and little pockets of stuff along the walls to give it more of a more organic stuff in it. And then we'll work on the light a little bit, and then we'll probably, I suspect this piece will be done tomorrow, and then we'll move on to the next piece. So far, so good. I like how this is turning out. I'm pretty pleased with it. Pretty pleased with that.
Let me just clean up my art here a little bit. Wasn't me though. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the brakes on this for now, and yeah. So thanks a lot to everyone that's been checking out the channel. I really appreciate you guys tagging in with me today. I'll be back tomorrow morning to finish this piece. Tomorrow night we'll be back on to continue working on the Mecha Kaiju Spelljammer Eberron Orbital campaign. Friday I'll be back on working on whatever the next piece is after this. Saturday morning early we'll be on probably doing mana, like color mana mechanic stuff or some martial powers stuff, and then I'll have my Strixhaven Mage Tower play testing on my Discord at 9:30 a.m. till 1 o'clock Pacific time. Yeah, that's it for now, guys. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate you guys being here, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side. Cheers.